Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Monday is all over me. Are you ready for Monday? Well, I am. Why? Because I began Sunday just putting things in order, prepping, going through my list, setting the tone, not only for the day, but for the week. But I'll tell you that I am so excited for this Monday because I have a whole new understanding of who I am, what I should be doing, where I should be going, and all that started with some quiet time. So I decided not to do this episode of Walking Through Glass, the podcast, in the car because I wanted to read something with you. I wanted to share something with you. And it's from my daily devotional, Jesus Calling. And I was thinking, what am I going to speak to today? And what was on my spirit and my heart was to talk about the truth and what our individual truths are in relation to our journey and our paths. And so that's been really heavy on my mind and my heart as I think about where I'm growing to and what's next on my agenda. And I get all discombobulated trying to figure everything out and needing to know where everything should go. Does that sound familiar? Well, for me, I am a master planner. And I love strategic plans, which is why I'm so great, for my clients and those people that I work with, because I'm great at putting systems in place. But when it comes to some of my own things, I've realized that the plan's in place, but I get so bogged down by the details of some of what I call my passion purpose projects that I get to a stall. It's not really just stuck, but it's a stall because I can see it. I can vision it and I have the pieces all there, but putting all of it together to deliver it, there's sometimes a stall there and I didn't quite understand that. So I actually would like to share my devotional for yesterday, which unfortunately I didn't realize I didn't even read it yesterday. And as I was getting up doing my devotional today, and I thought, wait a minute, I didn't do yesterday's. So let me share this with you. And then I want you to see how it's so in alignment with what's been heavy on my heart, mind, and spirit about the concept of the truth. So on June 16th, what it shared was, stay on the high road with me. Many voices clamor for your attention, trying to divert you in another path. But I have called you to walk ever so closely with me, soaking in my presence, living in my peace. This is my unique design for you, planned before the world began. I have called each of my children to a different path, distinctively designed for that one. Do not let anyone convince you that his path is the only right way. And be careful not to extol your path as superior to another's way. What I require of you is to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with me wherever I lead. You see, this whole concept of the truth and being skilled in multiple areas, but knowing that you're called to do the one thing, the something. I've shared in other episodes that it's a lie when people tell you can do anything that you want. You can be anything that you want. That's a lie. You were called to be something. And that one thing is what you're supposed to be doing. Now, you may do other tasks along the journey, but you'll notice that you struggle and there's a little strife and there's a little butting of heads because you haven't quite got into that something spot. And oftentimes what you're going through and growing through is preparing you for such a time as now, with that now being when you finally awaken to your true purpose, your calling. So I thought, okay. So I read yesterday's and I thought about what was on my mind, heart, and spirit this morning. And I say, okay, I hear you. because I've been speaking a lot about we're all on the same journey, but we'll take different paths. And although I know exactly what I want to do and I know what I'm called to be, I'm very clear about that. I'm very confident that I will achieve that. And developing the consistency to make it happen has really been part of what I struggle with every day, in all honesty, in all sense of the truth. But along the journey, on my road to now, I know there are some other things that I must learn and do to grow to that space. So getting clear about those things and having discernment about what they are is really what the challenge is. And sometimes that stall effect comes because I know I should be doing A, B, C, and D, but then my mind gets caught up in thinking about, because I'm a thinker, thinking about, well, but what about this option, about this option? So when I read the part where it talks about the voices clamoring for my attention, it's not necessarily outside voices of people want me to partner or do projects with them. Oftentimes it's my inside voice. It's those voices in my head telling me, well, but if you did this, then it should be that. So really getting to a meditative state to really hear and listen. You know, you pray and ask and say, God hears, and he knows. But when you're in prayer and you say, God, this is it. This is what, this is the desires of my heart. And I know you planted the seed in me, and you pray, and you begin to believe God that it's going to come to fruition. But then you need to be quiet and listen and learn so that you can execute. So that was Sunday's, June 16th. So let me share with you today's, June 17th. So again, this morning I get up at about 4 o'clock every morning and I do some meditation, do prayer, but this morning I didn't feel so great. And so I just kind of laid around in the bed. But then again, in my head, I wasn't asleep and I wasn't even resting. And it was so challenging to even meditate because it was a gazillion voices and pictures and thoughts and distractions in my head. And so I decided, I'm running out of the house. Let me read. Don't forget my devotional for the day. And sometimes if I don't read it before I leave the house, then I'll put it in my purse and I'll read it at work. So I stopped and said, well, let me just go ahead and read it really quick before I get in the car. I'm going to record another episode and voila. Well, June 17th, Motivational Monday. Here is something to just get a hold of. You want to talk about truths? This one just hit me in the solar plexus. So today's devotional from Jesus Calling reads, learn to laugh at yourself more freely. Don't take yourself or your circumstances so seriously. Relax and know that I am God with you. When you desire my will above all else, life becomes much less threatening. Stop trying to monitor my responsibilities, things that are beyond your control. Find freedom by accepting the boundaries of your domain. Laughter lightens your load and lifts your heart into heavenly places. Your laughter rises to heaven and blends with angelic melodies of praise. Just as parents delight in the laughter of their children, so I delight in hearing my children laugh. I rejoice when you trust me enough to enjoy your life lightheartedly. Do not miss the joy of my presence by carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Rather, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. My yoke is comfortable and pleasant. My burden is light and easily borne. Wow. Wow. What was marinating in my spirit was that the truth shall set you free. And that's all I've just been hearing. The truth shall set you free. So I knew I wanted to spend this week with your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D, talking about truth. So we can dispel those myths that are holding you back or stalling you or blinding you to seeing clearly about who and what you are and what you're called to do. So I knew this week was going to be about freedom and truth. And what I just read to kick the week off was that the truth is when you let go and you let God and you really begin to own your gifts, that's freedom there. When you stop trying to control everything, there's freedom there. When you allow yourself to laugh a little bit more, to smile a little bit more, to enjoy the present, that's freedom. And I have been on this intensive introspective journey about being in the present. Why? Because with the things that I have on my plate and the passions that I know need to be executed and the responsibilities that I have in raising Xavier, it's a lot. It's a lot. So there are some mental burdens that manifest themselves in a physical manner. The fatigue, the depression, sometimes just the sorrow of what next. Because as parents, especially as mothers, we want to make sure we provide the very best soil for which our children to grow, and we provide the very best fertilizer for them to reach their heights. So in this season, God's been speaking a lot to me and saying, I need you to be present. You're so busy trying to set the path and construct a future that you don't even know, because it's far bigger and better and bolder than even you can imagine. So what I do need you to do is to be very clear in what your purpose is and what I've called you to do, to inspire, empower, and transform lives. The how in the writing. I love to write. I love to collect stories. But the time to sit and often do it, I get distracted because I'm thinking I should be doing something else. There's another task I need to complete. Oh, I should be working on this. Oh, I got to go. And so I've had to tell myself sometimes, sit yourself down and execute. Not for somebody else. Don't have a problem working on another project. And it used to be, because that's what they pay me to do. But here's the freedom. When you give yourself and you pay yourself with time, it frees you up to truly, honestly walk in your truth. And when you stop worrying of what should have been, could have been, had been, what might be, that mental space, that mental fatigue begins to go away, freeing you up to walk in your truth. So this week, this amazing week with an amazing kickstart to Monday, I challenge you to walk in your truth freely by laughing a little more, smiling a bit more, and really beginning to be present and give thanks for who you are right now and in this moment, and anything and everything that you've accomplished up to date and thus far. For me, I've often got bogged down in what I haven't got to yet, and I rarely take a time to think about what I have achieved. Before, when I thought if I did that, then it would make me arrogant or it would make me cocky, but no. It makes me appreciative to where I'm growing to. So I'm going to kick off this Monday being bolder, freer, walking in my truth. That it's not just about being enough. It's just about being I am. And today, I choose to be happy. I choose to be free. And I choose to love myself on purpose with purpose. And I invite you to join me. Now, this is your Monday's daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D. And I encourage you to be free to share this episode as well as previous episodes with your friends and family and someone who just needs a little daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D, because why? We all need a little bit more sunshine in our lives. And be sure to catch the previous episode of Conscious Conversations with Lady Z, which posted on Sunday. So let me know what your thoughts are. Walking Through Glass, the podcast, is available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Music Play, and coming soon to iHeartRadio. Still waiting for that notice. So I hope you have a magnificent Monday and that you have an extraordinary week. Bye-bye.